I guess solo George tunes, they'd have to be in the realm of like All Things Must Pass.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And what is? This is even a better question. Maybe it's difficult. What is your favorite Harrison guitar lick?
Harrison guitar lick.
Which pretty much encapsulates all the Beatles music. Is there one that sticks in your mind that does?
Oh, there's just several that are so cool.
Give me a few.
All right, well, the solo in Something.
Okay.
She's a Woman is a nice Chet Atkinsy thing. And Your Bird Can Sing is a wonderful thing they did together with John.
Yeah.
Even some of the background lines, like in Michelle, all those lines, just awesome stuff.
I always got pissed off. I always thought he got slighted as being a guitarist.
Yeah, that always pissed me off too, because...
Especially when he died, I'm like, God, this guy...
Well, he was the only thing that got the war off the front page.
Yeah.
Him dying. Just Beatle dying to get the war off the page.
But I mean, it's like, gee, this guy was such a great guitarist before he... And you never, no one ever puts him in the ranks as the great guitarist.
Yeah.
Think of all those great licks that have inspired so many.
They were around and sort of broke up before the guitar gods became the catchphrase and all that kind of thing. And all four of them, I think, are still so underrated.
Yeah, grossly underrated.
It's ridiculous. People don't realize how hard it is to write something that's so perfect for a song.
Right.
And have it sound simple.
Yeah.
And then just because maybe some 14-year-old can play it doesn't mean they could have written it. Or play it even with the same energy and feeling and love and, you know, I mean, so much goes into it. And they were such naturals. I think that's what fascinates me the most, being an educator, is how much they were able to learn and grow without having formal education. They didn't even have standard lessons week to week. You know, they'd get on a bus or 3 buses to go across town just to learn B7 from the guy who was a friend of a friend. And they go, oh, show us, okay, great, okay, got it. And they'd go home and write a song quickly so they'd remember that chord. It's still the formula today. If you have a stack of chords and you're trying to learn how to play guitar, the best thing to do is to find a song that's got them in it and play that song a lot. So it should be a song you like. That way you'll remember those chords, you know. I mean, they were so logical about it, and yet they were able to get to levels of musicianship that people who've been studying all their life can't even scratch the surface of. Okay,
I asked you about your Liverpudlian accent.
You did.
Well, yeah. And how long have you been playing, George? I'm sorry.
Well, you know, I've been playing his licks since I'm a kid.
Okay.
You know, I learned "Here Comes the Sun" when it came out in 1969. And
actually, I could play that. I used to be able to play that on the guitar.
There you go.
Yeah.
But as far as this band, I've been in this band since the summer of '95.
Oh, okay. So you guys have been around for a while.
Yeah, we used to be known as Get Back. You can do Google searches and find all the old articles. Get Back and All Together Now.
So you pretty much have 2 full-time jobs. So I'm doing what you do at Berkeley and doing this.
Yeah, and being
actually the third. Actually, you have multiple full-time jobs.
Most independent musicians have to be.
That'll be the quote.
No, but you know, you have to do a million things, and because I came up in that time where Stevie Wonder and Beatles and people like that would writing, performing, arranging, and playing all the instruments to their records, I do a lot of that. I'm playing drums and bass on a lot of those tunes on my record, and playing all the guitars and singing all the layers of vocals, and having a few guests.
Yeah.
But, and I do all the engineering and producing too, so to me it's like you're sitting in a recording studio and you have to tell the engineer what you want, right? It's like trying to tell somebody to paint a picture for you. No, I want the tree over there. No, I didn't want it to be a willow. I wanted it to be an oak. No, I don't want... That's insane when you can just go over to the knob and do what you need.
But isn't that what isn't that what they were doing to George Mann, pretty much?
Pretty much. But he had to realize what they were hearing.
I mean, he was smart enough to figure out there. And I noticed that nice picture of you with George Mann.
Oh, that was fun. That was at Berkeley.
Yeah.
He came to do his Sgt. Pepper thing.
Did he have his heron still, or?
His who?
His heron.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I know his heron's.
I think it's just one ear.
Oh, was it?
But, you know, he felt like I'm getting too old to do records. You know? And the sweetest thing, he was very nice and he was very polite to me, but he was also trying to tell me to get lost, you know, because I had a rough mix of My Norwegian Friend, which is such a Beatley tune, and I would just love for Paul, I wanted George, but Paul or Ringo to hear it now, because it's such a fun little tune. I mean, I'm such a chip off the old Beatles block that, I mean, I can't imagine not having fun with Paul, you know, bouncing back and forth and each playing different instruments, and like, I could be on the next tour with him, you know, it's like, you need a woman in the band, you know. The My Norwegian Friend thing.
Yeah.
Oh, with George Martin.
Yeah.
I asked him if he'd listen to it.
Martin,
And he said, I'm retired. The way, you know, he's 6 feet and he swoops down into my face. I'm retired. I said, yeah, but just for fun. He swoops down again and he goes, fun takes time. He walked away. And his son came up to me. He's like, I'll listen to it. And he put it in his pocket. I've been faxing him. I never heard from him.
You think of how many times he must have got that, huh?
Yeah. Play it for Paul. Well, what I like about the song is that it's a good song besides all the Beatley things that are going on around it. It does stand on its own, so...
Yeah, I never heard anybody use the term Beatley.
Oh, yeah, that's probably very...
Is that it?
Un-PC for Beatles or something.
No, it's a great term. I mean, it's clear what it means.
Well, when my friends visit, they say, we got to come and watch a million videos with you. We need to Beatle up.
Beatle up.
And then when I'm always trying to invite friends to come to our Beatles shows, it's like, come on, you have to come out and get properly Beatled. You know, because you hear close to 50 songs in a show. Unless you go see Paul, you don't get to hear those songs live.
Yeah.
You know, so it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
And Paul will only sing the ones that he did the vocal stuff. So.
Right. Except that one time when he did give Peace a Chance and something.
Yeah.
Even the concert for George was so well done.
Was it?
Yeah. You haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, that's worth renting.
There were some people on there that I'm like...
Well, you could fast forward through them, you know. But this guy, Marc Mann, was an awesome guitar player, and he was a personal friend of George's. He nails those guitar parts. He's the only other guitar player that I've heard put in the charm and the right blessings of George or something in those notes besides me, because there are millions of tribute bands. I've heard hundreds. But, you know, it's more than just those notes. It's how you play them.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and...
I mean, it's a part of your soul on those strings when you play them, right?
Yeah, it's all on the touch.
It's not something you can learn. It's something you have to have.
And feel and listen for. You know, I mean, I had to learn it. I didn't sound good from the beginning. You think you sound good at every age, but then you laugh when you go back and hear the tapes, you know. Ooh.
So what's the most challenging thing about getting to George's psyche when you're on stage?
Well, now it's trying not to get overwhelmed with the loss of him. Because I didn't realize, but summer of 2002 was the hardest summer for me.
Really?
I was just miserable. I hated everything. I went through all the stages of grief.
That hit you really hard.
Oh, I cried every day for about 7 months, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, if I think about it too hard, I could cry now. I could still break down over the murder of John Lennon. I mean, he didn't just die. You know, he was blown away, and it's just such a waste to me.
Now, when you are in the Harrison mindset, what's the most important nuances and quirks that you embrace that others might take for granted? Is that question too pretentious?
No, or what they don't notice?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes I try to talk like this out of the side of my mouth or sing like that, you know.
Is he a side of the mouth talker?
A little bit. You know, when you watch him sing, too, you know, there's a lot of this sort of thing in the eyes and the, you know, and the little shaking of the head. Mostly I think it's guitar movements, you know, like when there's things he would do with swooping his arm through or something in A Hard Day's Night, you'd watch him play. He just had a certain way to hold the guitar and stuff, but he was influenced by really good guitar players like Chet Atkins, you know, and people who had a really nice touch. And there's always, if you notice, anytime people are underrating a really superb guitar player, it's because they're not very showy physically.
Right, and he wasn't a showy guitarist.
No, neither is Clapton, but Clapton sort of got the guitar god title anyway. But you know, you don't have to be doing all this extra floating on your back doing inchworm things across the stage to be getting good sounds. In fact, sometimes all that over physical stuff gets in the way of producing sounds. So, yeah, I think there's I don't think people look at me necessarily and say, oh wow, there's George. You know? I don't think they see it, but I feel like it. Especially playing the Gretsch, it's just... It was always synonymous with me, George and Gretsch. Not just because they started with G. but, you know, the Gretsch guitars were known as your father's Oldsmobile in the 50s.
Was it?
So here George comes out on Ed Sullivan's show in '64, and Gretsch sold like 350,000 Gretches that week after George was seen with a Gretsch. And Ludwig sales and Rickenbacker and Hofner basses. Just,
I mean, talking about a subliminal commercial endorsement, I mean...
Those instruments have never sold less since, you know.